particular skill or expertise to address that's possibly beyond that of a chatbot. Or it could be that as you automate your tier one resolutions for your help desk, of course you then have capacity in tier two and three. So a journey I can think about is, with that capacity in mind for human workforce, is somebody talks to the bot and say, I want to talk to a human. It pops up immediately what the person's telephone number is, and you get a phone call back straight away.
Yes.
Now that's a great experience, because I've chatted to a chatbot. It's created this context for that human agent to actually progress this case and resolve it. The human actually said, let me just speak to one of your operatives. The operative get a message. They phone the person back straight away. They've got full context of what's been discussed, and it's a really good, timely resolution of that particular problem. And again, if you look at the parameters of that journey, it's all positive. Everything here is positive. There's no broken pieces of the process where things fall through gaps. It's just a very smooth, seamless journey up until that point where the actual technical issue, for example, is resolved.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, so as you said, there's a very, very broad spectrum of use cases there. These were just a few really good examples, we thought, and so that brings us now into the internal facing use cases. So the one before was sort of more customer facing, external facing, but you can use chatbots as well internally. And I think that's it's completely new dimension I've never thought about before going into this topic a while back. I always thought, okay, chatbots are only useful for customer service and customer journeys. But so what do you think?
Well, I think internal facing. I think that there's so many opportunities for the internal facing domain as well, because of course, chatbots are becoming increasingly capable. They are able to assist teams that work with internal employees, and streamlining all of these workflows and saving human employee time. For example, if somebody works remotely, and streamlining that experience, that actually ensures that the business keeps on moving forward, and resources is not lost. And one of the biggest use cases we see is within HR. And HR is a great place to deploy internal facing chatbot, because let's look at a scenario. Employee just have a simple question: how many holiday leave or holiday days do I have left for the year? And that's a pretty common inquiry. And then normally, they will send an email to HR. Somebody in HR will have a look at it. But if you have an HR bot that can field these sort of tier one requests, that chatbot can be connected straight away to the HR system. Once we know who the employee is, of course, it's all internal, so there's authentication. The chatbot uses its natural language processor, which is all AI driven, to interpret, what the actual intent is of a member of staff. In this instance, they are asking, how many vacation days do I have left? And the chatbot will give them the answer very quickly, very effective, to the point. And the request is served instantly. Again, that keeps everybody that engages with the bot away from these administrative duties to then wait for the HR email and chase the email potentially, because HR then come back in a timely fashion. That's one example. Another example is logging or booking a new leave request. Very simple. when do you want to go? Obviously how many days, and you can make that experience quite exciting as well for the employee. So we see a lot of use cases with inside HR for these internal facing, chatbot driven assistance for staff.
Yeah, that's really good, and we see as well. So was the lockdown last year when this started. So there was a huge uptake, and there still is Microsoft Teams and Slack, all these collaboration platforms, and all what we do there as well was our colleagues. We are communicating in the same way. So I'm writing a message, and then something comes back. So it's a typical chat there as well, very context driven. In most cases, we talk about specific channels in Microsoft Teams, about customer tickets which are coming through Teams these days, or specific projects, and this allows us as well. So by these chatbots, they're not necessarily like this little icon there you see in the bottom right corner in your intranet or on your internet pages. So by combining the chatbot capabilities, probably you're aware of some of the bots firing up in Slack or so that they're taking care of a few things. So this is exactly where then this sort of chat capability comes in. You could have a really tight integration into your Microsoft Teams to actually kick off that conversation. So you can be in the same place as always when you talk directly with your HR team. So the bot can take over exactly the same place and filter down these requests, and everything is in your context, in your own chat. Everything is stored. Everything is, in the right place for you as an employee and for the HR staff. So yeah, it's very, very powerful by bringing the capability in the tools we already using a lot. MS Teams is a really big one, and I think we also have that capability these days. We can plug that technology into our Facebook chats, into our WhatsApp chats, in our Telegram, or whatever is out there in these days. But this allows very, very seamless connection, isn't it? So with your team, same way as I have done before. And the next big topic really is not just the HR. When we think about all the admin in the business, so the general business administration, there's so much stuff to do, which is very time consuming. And combining that with a chatbot, like scheduling meetings. So this is a good one. Or when shall we have our next team meeting or our next away day? So then the big thing starts, isn't it? So then usually I look into my calendar, I send out a doodle, everyone comes up with the right slot, and but here we could actually schedule a meeting and let the chatbot do it, isn't it? And same.
Can be very clever. It can do a lot of that kind of sort of fiddly, heavy lifting for you, so you could just focus on actually doing what you're supposed to do at work and focusing on that. But yeah, I guess for general business administration, again, the use cases are vast. And I guess the reality here is that all of the backend systems exist. To obviously schedule a meeting, and this is simply just a question of plugging that chatbot in and establishing that connection. If you want to book a flight, for example, once we start flying again and the skies are open, how convenient would that be to just use an internal chatbot to book your business meeting? It asks you all the questions. It does all the checks for you. The chatbot is trained so that it covers that experience very seamlessly. And also beyond that, once your trip, you're coming close to your trip, it can just send you the reminders, ask you questions to make sure that you've got your copies of your itinerary. So that's just another example. So there's so many sort of general arrangements and general admins or administrative tasks that this administrative assistant can provide you. Like you said, you could have integration with Teams and Slack, for example. So again, very broad, or very broad set of use cases, with inside business administration.
And the good thing is similar like the other platforms we talking about here on this podcast. Yeah, you mentioned this, Arno, as well already. Yeah, they are very low code focused, so it's more configuration and and these technologies we are working with. So they already come up with a huge set of ready to go templates. So if you think about, okay, I need an assistant doing these flight bookings, there is already maybe a rough template there, which is getting you started. A few more configurations obviously need to be done to adapt it to the right use case and to the department's needs. But generally, it's a good accelerator there available, and this covers all sorts of use cases, not just for the chatbots. I think in general with all the local platforms, RPA platforms. So there are so many templates available to get started in a matter of days, really. And
Yes.
yeah. So the next one.
Well, the next one is to do with management assistance. So this is where we have managers, and they need to do a lot of approval centric type tasks like budgets and requests, and usually they'll either receive an email with an attachment, or they have to rely on an internal platform to access the data. No doubt they would have to go to a calendar which has got a reminder for them to either approve the budget or to do something that's key, for their job as a manager. So by deploying chatbots, you can negate the need for managers to do it in this inefficient way, and really introduce new levels of productivity for them. So rather to wait for managers to to return to the office, or to when they're back from holiday, it's very easy for a virtual assistant chatbot just to pop up and really give them all the tools they need to have on the go to do these budget approvals and these management tasks, approve purchase orders, customer reports, and many more types of things that managers does in a business. So again, it is the same sort of topic or the same outcome, where you free up these employees' time, and you free them up to do other more intuitive things, and really improve their happiness and their satisfaction as employees, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, yeah. So this is pretty much the outcome for most of our automation projects, to really increase that sort of capacity we have in businesses, by just getting rid of all this other stuff, which can be automated. So yeah, but how do we? Like with always with these new technologies, how do we really get started with those? Was chatbots, how to setting this up? So. Yeah, as always, indeed, we need buy-in from everyone and experiment a lot to get it right. But as it is very easy with those templates, I think it is, you can just try it out very, very quickly and see if it works for you. So, but you said something very good earlier, Arno, was don't make it too human. So,
yes, and I think
with that one.
I think in people's perceptions of chatbots is that I think when chatbots started off, people that deploy them did try and make them too human, almost hiding the fact that it's a bot, and I think that was the wrong approach and the wrong strategy. I think once that was flipped on its head and people knew it was a chatbot, providing that this bot actually resolved the query, I think most people didn't really mind them. I think in the first generations of chatbots that we saw, that wasn't AI driven. They were more sort of if then else driven. It really turned off a lot of people from using them, because it didn't take long for people to realize they're not actually speaking to Alex here. They're just speaking to a piece of computer software. Whereas bringing the bot out and making it intelligent was actually the right strategy. And I think that we're seeing that by deploying these smart chatbots and also declaring the fact that they are actual bots. And there is a possibility, if you don't get your query resolved by a bot, that you're going to be transferred to a human. People got a lot more comfortable sort of engaging with the chatbot.
Yeah, I guess they understand as well. Okay, here's some mechanism for me which sort of works in most cases, or 80% of the cases, 24/7. So that's already a huge benefit for me as a customer. So then they accept that there's sort of a mechanism, a bot for them there available, and then I think that's okay. I see it in the same way. I thought first as well from our business perspective, we have a bot, we sort of have to hide that. But what kind of piece of code do you need to have to hide the fact? Yeah, it's too complex. And if you have a very simple chatbot, it's very clear immediately if someone puts something in which doesn't really answer sort of the question and the structure the bot was expecting. It is immediately clear there's just a dumb piece of code. It already falls apart if someone else asking, a simple bot would ask, please give me my email address, please give us the email address, and then someone answers no. And then the bot is sort of in the loop. Oh, this is not a valid email address, please give me your email address. Yes. So this you can't really hide that anyway. So only if you have like a super and we are not at that stage. So everyone accepts that, absolutely. And I think that also brings me to the next point. Watch the audience, really how people are interacting with the bot, and that really that data and that behavior, if that flows back into sort of the learning of your system, so then an AI powered bot is even getting more intelligent, and can suggest even more things to the customer potentially at some point on its own, to come up with a sort of the next best sort of recommendation on solving problems. But in general, it tells us so much about what's going on currently on the customer side. So if we have suddenly lots of conversations going on about a specific problem, so we definitely need to see how our customers are experiencing it and behaving, so that all can be very valuable.
Yeah, and that is true. I think, and that brings us to the next point: is really to start small and using an iterative approach, grow bigger. You can get started with your first chatbot, within a day. There's so many platforms out there that you can use. It's all low code driven. The better ones has got natural language processing engines, which are very sophisticated. So the intent of the conversation and the context could be extracted very quickly. My recommendation would be to perhaps look at an internal facing bot first. HR is a very, very good place to start. Simple use cases like, leave management. How many leave days do I left? What's the policy on sick leave? Employee well-being. These are simple things that you can have a very soft landing for your chatbot within inside your business. And as people become more accustomed to these chatbots, make them more capable, broaden their reach, start rolling them out in other areas, other departments in your business, finance. Keep on iterating, keep on learning the lessons. You talked about watching your audience, see how people interact with the bots, adjust these bots, and I think kind of build that confidence that the chatbots are actually a very, very seamless way to get problems resolved and to go get help, without having to send out requests and waiting for responses from somebody that's going to be late. And also talking about privacy earlier in our podcast, I think, privacy is a big deal, and we need to make sure that compliance is a priority. We need to make sure that the data is secure. We need to make sure that when we talk to a person, that person is actually the person that they say they are. So all of these protocols needs to be built into your bot. But luckily, with the chatbot platforms out there, that's simply just another construct that you drag and drop into your chatbot configuration to tell it how to authenticate a user while the user is logged on to their local workstation. That user is obviously know their password, so by definition, it is the person that you think you're talking to. Or there could be another verification that you can build in just to be on the safe side. But again, all of the compliancy around data protection, luckily, most of the chatbot platforms we work with, all of that is solved for, all of that is catered for, and it really just gives you the opportunity to focus on these journeys that you want to create with these bots. And just kind of touching back on, where do you start small, land something small. HR, again, really good space, something very simple, get people used to it, and then from there on, grow the reach of the bot.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, thank you very much. I think this is a really good point to sort of come to in the end with this episode. I hope you liked this episode. The first one on chatbots. More will follow. It's a very, very interesting topic. If you're interested about that more, send us your feedback, and then we will plan in more chatbots episodes earlier. And if you like to have a chat about chatbots, reach out to Arno or myself via our social profiles, or visit our website, theautomationguys.net, for more details. Thank you very much for listening for the episode to the episode today, and we hope you will tune in next time, and see you soon. Unfortunately, that's it again with this episode of the Process and Automation podcast. If you liked this episode, please give us a 5-star rating, and don't forget to subscribe to this podcast so you don't miss any upcoming episode. We hope you will tune in next time, and until then, let's automate it.